Hi everyone, and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions, my podcast about knitting, spinning, and sewing. My name's Tommi, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Dynamite Trujillo. Welcome to episode 53 of my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to any new viewers. Thank you for checking out my channel, and a big welcome back to any returning viewers. Today is a really rainy, nice Friday in March here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast that you should totally go check out and join if you haven't yet. It is where you'll find the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes. It's where you'll find giveaway stuff and knit along stuff and all kinds of fun stuff. We do have giveaways and knit alongs happening right now. So go over there and check that out, and I'm going to talk about both of those right now. So our first knit along that we've got running right now is the Kid Along, and that is a knit along running through some point. I said it last time, I think I forgot. Through the end of April? That sounds right. Through the end of April sounds good. Where you can knit anything for a kid. A baby, a kid, clothing, blankets, toys, whatever. Anything for a kid qualifies. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. There are rules in the thread. There's a chatter thread and an FO thread in the Ravelry group. So if you happen to be knitting something for a kid in your life, go check it out. We did get our first prize donation, and I'm so excited about it. It's freaking gorgeous, and I can't wait until somebody wins it. So I'm going to show you that now. We got a lovely project bag donated to the podcast, made by Autumn, who is Coddington on Ravelry. Thank you so much, Autumn. This project bag is so freaking cool. It's, in my mind, it's very Golden Girls. It's got like the bamboo and the fans, and oh, I love it. It's gorgeous. So, and it's got this really cool silky lining. So this is a prize for the Kid Along. If you're interested in winning, knit something for a kid, post your FO in the FO thread, and I will be drawing 4 prizes at the end of April, which is what I said. So that's happening. That's the thing. Okay, so we are also going to do a giveaway this week. The lovely and amazing and talented Kristen, who is Vine on Ravelry, designed a beautiful new fingerless mitt pattern, and she so graciously donated a copy of the pattern to give away on the podcast. So what I'm going to do is open up a thread in the Ravelry group. There will be a prompt that you will answer if you want to, and that'll enter you for a randomly drawn prize of the Something Wicked mitts. I adore these mitts. I waited for them to come out, and the day they were released, I cast some on. So you'll see those later. They're really so cool. I love them. I love them. I hope you love them too. If you want to win a copy, go check out the Ravelry group, because you can, and it'll be really easy, because I'm going to ask a question. It's going to be really easy. I haven't thought of what the question's going to be yet. But anyway, okay, so that's all that stuff. Thank you so much, Autumn and Kristen, for donating those amazing prizes. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to FOs, because I am wearing my first FO. This is the Stroker by Isolde Teague. This is a sweater that I've been working on for a little while, and it is finally done, and I'm so excited. I love how it came out. So Stroker is a Isolde Teague bottom-up colorwork yoked pullover. The yarn that I used was Harrisville Designs in their worsted base. Does it have a name beyond that? I always forget. Oh my god. So it's Harrisville Designs. It's a 2-ply woolen spun worsted weight, 100% non-superwash wool yarn, and I love it so much. So the main color, the dark gray, is the charcoal colorway. The purple in the yoke is plum, and the lighter gray is called Silver Mist. And I just love how it came out. It's really awesome. So I'll stand up and show you and then talk a little bit about it. I did make a couple slight modifications, but nothing major. So here it is. It's a pretty good length. I did lengthen it, which is what I wanted in a sweater. I don't like waist length sweaters. I like them when they're more hip length. It's a long sleeve. I did lengthen the sleeves because it called for a more bracelet length sleeve. And yes, I am about halfway through a pregnancy right now, so that's what that is. Here's the back. And that's it. So this thing was really, really fun to make. It was nice and quick because it's worsted weight, which was awesome. Like I said, I lengthened the sleeves. I like sleeves to come about that length, so that's what I did. I lengthened the body and I changed the cuff and the neckband and I think the hemline from garter, which is what's called for in the pattern, to a 1x1 rib. I think one of those things actually does call for a 1x1 rib, but I made all of the edging 1x1 rib because I don't know, garter edging just didn't sound good to me, so I did ribbing. And I really like it. I love how it turned out. The neckline is nice and I don't know, it's a nice crew neck. It's probably one of the highest necklines I've done in a pullover. I generally tend to go for a lower, like scoop neck, boat neck kind of thing. But I really like how it came out. It's really comfortable. I did go down in needle size for all of the ribbing. And when I finished the sweater, it's bottom up. So the very last thing I did was the neck ribbing. I did forget to go down in needle size. So I finished it and realized that the neck kind of flared a little bit and was just, it didn't sit right. So I realized what I did and I ripped back the neckline and then reknitted in the smaller needle size, which was not a big deal because it's only like, what, like 5 rows or something like that. So yeah, it fits really good. I made the smallest size and this was my first, I don't know if I should say that because I don't know if it's true. I'll just say it was a bottom-up yoke. I do not know if that was my first bottom-up yoke. I can't remember. I might have done one before. But I really like how it fits, doing bottom-up things like that. Oh, it wasn't my first bottom-up yoke. I've totally done one before. I did the... I don't know what it's called. But I did another one. But anyway, it's always a little nerve-wracking to do a bottom-up sweater, in my opinion, because I'm a stickler for length and I'm always a little unsure about the length and, you know, the fit and like, so, but I put it all together. Still, it's really hard to try it on in that form and check the fit before you start doing the color work. So I just kind of like went with it and it worked out really great. I feel like this whole depth right here is perfect. I feel like the color work is in a good spot for my body. I didn't think that when I was looking at colorwork sweaters, when I knew I wanted to make one, this was the one that I chose for one of the reasons is that the colorwork is kind of shallow. It doesn't come too far down on the chest area, which I thought might look weird on me. So I really like how this sits. I really, really like my color choices. The dark gray and the purple, which are the two colors that sit next to each other, aren't that contrasting, and I did that on purpose. I thought I wanted something a little more subtle. Not that this purple is subtle because it's pretty neon-y, but I really like how it goes from the dark gray to the purple, which isn't that contrasty, and then the contrast color, the pop, is like right in the middle of all of it. So I really like that. This was a really great, fun pattern to knit. Everything in it was super clear, super easy to follow. It was a really short pattern, but it didn't leave anything unexplained, if that makes sense. It was really concise, awesome. I loved it. I loved this pattern. The wool to wear is really, really great. It is definitely not Buttered Kitten soft, but it's not itchy either. It's really nice. It's really woolly. I can tell I'm wearing wool. I am wearing a camisole underneath it, which I always do. I never wear pretty much anything without a camisole underneath. So I wouldn't wear a sweater without one underneath anyway. So the only place I can really feel it against my skin is my arms, and it's fine. I can feel the wool move on my skin, you know, as I move, but it's possibly something that would bother some people because of how rustic it is, but I like it. So yeah, this is my stroker, and I am so happy with how it turned out. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm really happy I lengthened it because it just would have been too short for me. And I'm really happy I did ribbing instead of garter. I really like the changes that I made, which is, like I said, very few changes. I do have quite a bit of yarn left over. I don't have much of the gray left, maybe half the skein or less of my last skein, but I do have quite a bit of the contrasting colors left over. So I have definitely more than half of a skein of each of those two colors left over. But when I purchased the yarn for this sweater, I did purchase extra colors as well because I thought I wanted to make a colorwork cowl with the new colors and the leftovers from this. So hopefully that's what I'll do soon. I really like this cowl. It's from the Take Heart collection, and I will put the info here. But I think that's what I'm gonna do with the leftovers. And I got a teal and like a lime green and a different gray to go with these leftovers. So yeah, that's my first finished object. I'm super happy with it. I'm obsessed with sweaters right now. Obsessed. So on to my second FO. Yes, I have 2 FOs this week. What? I finished my spiral blanket of awesome. This is a baby blanket that I knit for my baby, which is going to be due in July. Oh, and by the way, I found out it's a girl. In case you're curious. I did find out last week, a week ago today, that I am having a girl, so yay. But this is her spiral blanket of awesome, and it is my first entry into the Kid Along, which is hashtag Kid Along, by the way, on Instagram, if you want to put something up or check out what other people are doing. And I love this blanket. Oh my gosh, so much, you guys. You already knew, because I've talked about it before, how much I love this pattern. It's the Spiral Blanket of Awesome, who is designed by somebody whose name either is here now or was here already. And I will link to it in the show notes. It's an amazing free blanket pattern. This is the second one I've made, and I love it so much. It's so fun, it's so easy, and the result is so freaking awesome, as the name suggests. So it's a spiral stockinette blanket. You start here in the middle. I did the Emily Oker's circular cast on, which is not what the pattern calls for, but that's what I did because I like it. And then you pretty much spiral out until you're done knitting. And then you do this super cool ruffle border. The yarn that I used was Miss Babs Kaweah in the Deep Sea Jellyfish colorway. That's a DK weight yarn. So this is a DK weight blanket. I used size 6 needles, I think. That could be wrong. It says in my project page on Ravelry. And I used 3 entire skeins. 3 full entire, for real, the whole skeins. So as I have also said before, all 3 skeins were pretty different, which is not unusual for Miss Babs. So the center skein, or the first skein in the center, kind of goes all the way to here. And then you can see a pretty drastic difference. So that whole middle part is 1 skein. And then from here up to the border, up to the edging, is the 2nd skein. And the whole edging itself is the 3rd skein. Now I decided to start the edging when I finished the 2nd skein to give myself the whole 3rd skein to do the edging. And I thought I was playing it safe by doing that, but I was playing a seriously intense game of Yarn Chicken in the bind off. I literally had about that much yarn left. And I was worried about running out. Like, I seriously thought I was going to run out during the bind off, but I wasn't too worried about it because I'm okay with just throwing in some different yarn at the end if I had to, but I didn't have to, so that was really, really nice. The bind off that I did for this is a typical bind off for me. It's a bind off that I don't know if there's a name for it, but I learned it through the Very Pink Knits tutorial YouTube channel, and I will link to it in the show notes, but it is the bind off where you knit a stitch, knit another stitch, and then knit those 2 stitches together through the back loop. You do that over and over again until you're done. It provides a really stretchy bind off, and I really like it for most things, but it uses a lot of yarn. So what I did when I got to almost the very end of it, I knew I wasn't gonna have enough yarn left at all. So for the last probably 20 stitches or so, I switched from that bind off to a regular, I don't know what this bind off is called either, but like the classic bind off. The first bind off you learn where you just knit one, you knit another one, and then you pass the last one over the one you just knit. I did that for the last 20 stitches or so, which uses a lot less yarn, and I won. I played yarn chicken and I won, you guys. I could not believe it. I was so shocked. So that was cool. This border did take a pretty long time. It's full of a bunch of increases. It's alternating reverse stockinette and stockinette, so it makes for a ruffle. And it was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed knitting this. It's nice. It's a nice size. It's not a huge, like, regular, you know, blanket size, but it's a baby blanket size, I feel like. I haven't measured it or anything. But it turned out about the same size as the first one that I made, which was for a friend's baby, and that seemed to work out pretty good. So it's gonna be pretty cool. First baby knit, super excited. Love it. I really, really love it. This was a super fun knit, and I really love this yarn. It's a really high twist, firm and bouncy DK weight yarn, which I thought would be really good for this blanket, and it is. It's a super wash, so that'll be nice, I think. And I love the color. I love the colors so much. So, Spiral Blanket of Awesome, FO number 2. I've been a machine lately, you guys. Machine. Seriously. You should see all the stuff I'm about to show you. You're gonna, because I'm gonna start right now. Onto whips. My first whip is living in my Sugar Tots project bag, which has foxes on it. And they are my Nomadic Yarns knee-high self-striping socks. They're so awesome. So I'm using Nomadic Yarns, which is an amazing self-striping hand-dyed yarn. Dobby is a free elf is the colorway. And this is her twisty sock base, 80/20 superwash merino nylon. And I love it so much. These colors are my favorite ever. This is, as I have said before, my first time using Nomadic Yarns, and I'm obsessed. I have not honestly tried that many different self-striping hand dyers. I love self-striping socks. I love knitting them. But I've kind of maybe tried 5 or so of different dyers who dye self-striping. And every time I try one, they become my favorite, and it's like all I knit for a little while. And so I think Nomadic Yarns is definitely my current favorite. I really want to get some more of her yarn. This is the first ball of hers that I've ever bought, and I definitely want to get more. Her dyeing is just beautiful. It's so beautiful. So this is what I have got. I'm on the first sock still, and I am knitting these on my size 1 Chiaogu mini twist interchangeables. I cast on with 64 stitches, German twisted cast on. I'm doing a 2x2 cuff. And what I do when I do knee highs is I cast on 64 stitches, and then right where my calf starts to decrease in reality, I start decreasing on the sock, and I go down to 56 stitches, which is my standard sock size. So that's where I am right now. I'm in 56 stitch land, which is a good place to be. I love 56 stitches because it goes by fast. So I got a little ways to go, not too long, a little ways to go before I do the heel flap and gusset, which is what I'm going to do because it's my very favorite heel of all time. And yeah, they're great fun. I love them. These colors are amazing. Look at that like thick stripe, that grayish brownish stripe, and how like, I don't know, how tonal it is. It almost looks cloudy. I love it. It's so pretty. I'm definitely a teal and hot pink girl. Child of the 80s, y'all. So that is my first stock work in progress, and I love it. My second work in progress is my test knit that I am doing for Caitlin of Wool Jewel, and she has designed a leg warmer pattern, and I'm test knitting them, and I love them so far. So the yarn that I'm using is some stuff. I am using Regia in one of their self-striping, self-patterning colorways, which is colorway number 04889. And I like it a lot. It's maroons and kind of brownish tones. It's the whatever this is line. A 2-day color, maybe? I don't know. But I really like it. The other yarn that I'm using, I'm striping these together, is Dharma Dye Works in the I don't know how to, here, I'm going to show you guys, and if you can read it, cool. Fomber, is it French? I don't know. Some colorway. But it's gorgeous. It's a coppery brown tonal, and I love it. So here they are so far. These are mostly so far 2x2 ribbing. So you start here at the bottom. This is where your foot goes, and it's 2x2 ribbing all the way up until this point. This is where your calf starts to expand, and that's where you switch to stockinette. And so you pretty much alternate the two yarns every single row, and it just has this really cool color effect that I really like. And you start at the foot, and it's an open foot because they're leg warmers. And what's really cool about these is it has this heel opening. So your heel goes in there. And I really, really like that about these leg warmers because it keeps the things put, you know what I mean? I have leg warmers right now that I wear, but they're just straight up and down and there's no like heel thing. And I always wear them like this, where they come down over my heel and sit on my foot. And a lot of times they slip up as I'm putting my boots on. So I'm really excited about this feature. This part right here just sits right on the middle part of your foot, and then the rest of it comes up your leg. I love them. So got a lot of 2x2 rib, which was fun to work on. More so than I thought, because, you know, 2x2 rib over and over and over for this much length can be a little daunting, but switching colors every round makes it a lot more fun. So it really flew by. And then I'm up on the calf part right now, and I'll do a bunch more stockinette and then some more ribbing at the top, and then I'll be done with these. And I really love how they're turning out. I really like self-striping striped with a tonal. I think it's a really good idea. So I'm loving these so far, and I cannot wait until they're done because I really, really want to wear them. So, yay! And the pattern for these is not out yet. As I said, I'm test knitting these, so these are still in the test knitting phase. But as soon as they are released, I will let you know. And yeah, I can't wait. I love them. My yarn just... on to my next work in progress. I am working on these Something Wicked mitts. Like I said, I cast these on the day they came out because I love them. These are living in the very first project bag that I ever made. I haven't made many project bags, but this was my first experiment, and it's super janky and uneven and tiny. But that's what they're living in right now. And here is my first one. Now, like I said, this is a pattern by Kristen, also known as Vine, and this is a very recent pattern release. And I finished the first one. They are fingerless mitts. The thumb is not yet done. And Here's what she looks like on. This was such a quick knit. Seriously, this went by so fast. So that's the first one. It's got this really beautiful cable and lace pattern up the back, and I love it so much. It was really fun to work on. Like I said, it went by really, really fast. The yarn that I'm using is Moonstone Dye Works, which is my own hand-dyed yarn. This is in the Polworth DK base. This is a DK weight pattern. And this is one of my holiday colorways from last year. This is called Frostbite. And this is a skein that I saved for myself last Christmas, caked it up, and then never actually used. So it's kind of out of season, but I really like it, and I really, really love knitting with this yarn. This is 100% Polworth in a DK weight, and it's so soft. I love it so much. Now, you will not find this colorway in the shop right now because it is one of my holiday colorways, but if you happen to want some, let me know. I can probably work something out. And I think it came out really, really, really nice in this pattern. So this pattern has a 1x1 ribbing at the cuff. The pattern calls for twisted rib, but I did not do that. I just did the regular, some regular 1x1 rib. And that's just because I don't like twisted rib. I don't mind actually working twisted rib at all. I just don't really like the twisted rib itself. So whenever a pattern calls for twisted rib, I always just change it to regular rib. So that is the only alteration that I made to the pattern. I think I may have added an extra 1 or 2 rounds at the cuff as well. And something I really like about this pattern is that the pattern itself on the back of the mitt starts a ways before you start the thumb. So that makes for a nice long wrist section, which I really, really like in a mitt. And just this cable pattern is so awesome. I love it so much. I did make a mistake right there. I cabled the wrong direction, but I noticed it a little ways later and I decided not to go back because I don't care. I still think they're gorgeous. And the thumb is nice and thummy. And for the ribbing at the end, I just did what the pattern called for other than changing it to regular rib. The bind off, I did that bind off that I generally do that I talked about in my Spiral Blanket of Awesome. I did that bind off and it came out to be way too stretchy. It's a pretty stretchy bind off. But for this, it was a little too stretchy and it ended up flaring a lot. So I ripped it out and redid it in that regular bind off where you just slip your last stitch over and over again. So I did that, and I mean, you can see it. It's a pretty obvious looking bind off, but I don't care. I think it looks good and it fits a lot better, I feel like. So that's what I did there. And this is how much extra yarn that stretchy bind off uses, because I was probably had about that much left over when I originally did the bind off. So all of this yarn used to be in the bind off, but it isn't anymore. So I don't know. I just think that's kind of interesting how much yarn that bind off uses. So that's the first one, almost done. Second one is just a teeny little cuff so far. And I've got a little kitty cat progress keeper on it. I am knitting these on 2 different needles. For the ribbing, I'm doing a size 4, which is what the pattern calls for. These are my Haya interchangeables. For the 5s, because my 5s are in use somewhere else from my Haya interchangeable set, I'm using these Knit Picks interchangeables. And I've got a cable needle in here for the cables, because that's how I roll. And I love these. I love these so much so far. I cannot believe how quick they work up. I might have to make another pair because they're so fast. And yeah, I love them. Really, seriously, I think you should make this pattern because it's quick and it's fun and it's gorgeous. So those are my Something Wicked mitts in my holiday yarn. And I love knitting with that yarn. That Polworth DK base is so nice. And I still have more. I am not done. I've got like 2 more projects that I've been working on, and they're both sweaters, right? Well, the first one's a baby sweater. So this is my next project for my kid along, for my kid. And this is actually my second sweater that I have knit for her. The first one was the We Envelope by Isolde Teague. That's been done for a little while. So I cast on another one for her. This is the Flax Light Pullover. And I am knitting this. That's a pattern by Tin Can Knits. I am knitting this in Moonstone Dyeworks again. This is the BFL sock base in the Stone Cold Manners colorway, which is my A Court of Thorns and Roses inspired colorway. And this was originally my patterned sock yarn. And my patterned sock for my patterned sock cal got ripped out because I could not do it. I couldn't hang. So I ripped it out and now I'm using it for a baby sweater. I really, really love this colorway. And this is what I've got so far. And I love it so far. I am knitting this in the second to smallest size, so I think that's the, I'll tell you what it is. No, I won't. Doesn't say. I'm knitting it in the second to smallest size. How about that? It's not the newborn size, it's the next one up. No, whatever. And I'm knitting it on a size 5. This is where my size 5s are. This is my high interchangeable set needles. And I mean, pretty much so far, it's a little top-down raglan pullover. You cast on for the neckband and do some 1x1 rip. And then it's mostly stockinette, but there are these garter panels on the sleeves. And so it's really fun, it's really easy. It's just kind of like knitting itself so far, because it's that easy. And yeah, I'm excited about this. Tiny sweaters are really great to knit because they're sweaters and they're tiny. So they're really fast. So that is the Flex Light Pullover by Tin Can Knits. It's a great pattern so far. I really like it. It's free, so yeah. And that is living in a little tote bag from Fabric Temptations, which is one of my local fabric/yarn shops. My last work in progress is a sweater for me. So as soon as I bound off this sweater and blocked it and it was ready to go, I cast on my next sweater. That is living in my classic Fat Squirrel Speaks project bag. And I am knitting the Hematite by Lisa Much. And it is a top-down raglan cardigan. I am using Moonstone Dyeworks again, which is my hand-dyed yarn company, in the Natural Merino base, which is my fingering weight 100% non-superwash merino yarn. And this is the Starships colorway. This is my Nicki Minaj inspired colorway. Because I don't know if you know this about me, but I really love Nicki Minaj. So I am knitting this on a size 6 needle from my Knit Picks wooden interchangeable set. And that's what it looks like so far. So this cardigan pattern is a top-down raglan, mostly garter stitch cardigan. And the shape of it is a shape that I really, really love in cardigans. And I want to try to kind of stick to this shape in knitting cardigans from now on. Not completely, but just because I know I love it and I know I love how it fits me and I want more of them. So I really like it. It pretty much, it buttons, there's buttonholes just right at the top and then it's open from the rest of the way down. And the way that it sits on the body, it's almost like an A-line. It's really fitted up here, but because it stays open on the bottom, it kind of not flares out, but it just drapes really nicely down the rest of it. And I really like it so far. It's fun. So far for the increases around the yoke, it's this alternating garter and stockinette stitch pattern. I've gotten to the point here where I've just started doing straight up garter stitch, which is really nice because you know me, I love sweaters where it's just knitting, 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 knitting. And if that means it's a pullover, it's stockinette. If it's a cardigan, it's garter. This is my first garter stitch cardigan, so I've never done this before, but I am loving it so far. I have not gotten to the point yet where I've separated for the sleeves. So here's the front panel, and then here's my sleeve. I've done all the increases for the sleeve. So now I just have to get to the proper length before I can separate, put those on waste yarn, and then I'll just be going back and forth on the body. I love, I am really patting myself on the back here because I love this yarn so much, just like the last one. It's the base though. This base is just so beautiful. Like I said, it's a 100% wool non-superwash and it's so soft. Like this non-superwash 100% wool, unlike this one, is buttered kitten soft. It is so soft. I love it so much. And it's really it's really squishy and I love it. I love it so much. So that's making it really pleasant to work on. I've got this little star progress keeper, and she is from Charmed and Dangerous, and I love her. So I'm really, really happy with the progress on this so far. I've never knit a pattern by Lisa much, but I just really fell in love with this one. And it seems like a really simple pattern. The construction's really simple. It's a basic raglan top-down cardigan, worked back and forth, and I really am enjoying it so far. I've also got this progress keeper here acting as a stitch marker, and this is a little bee from Beehive Yarns. I am making one modification to this pattern, and that is that I'm doing an I-cord edging down the whole front panels. The pattern calls for just pretty much no edge treatment. So you're working garter back and forth and there's no edge treatment. You just do it. You just do the garter. Now, as I do when I'm about to start a new pattern, especially a sweater pattern, I went onto Ravelry and looked at all the projects so that I could see if anybody had any interesting things to say about them knitting this pattern, and somebody did. So I totally copied somebody who already had a project done on Ravelry, and this is what she did. She just decided to do it because she thought it would look cleaner, and I totally agree. I thought hers looked really great, so I copied her. And so pretty much what I'm doing is I have added 6 extra stitches to the whole stitch count. There's 3 extra stitches on each end, and I'm using those 3 stitches to do the I-cord edging, which is a really simple technique. It's pretty much on one side I'm slipping the 3 stitches. On the right side I'm slipping the 3 stitches, and on the wrong side I'm either knitting or purling them, depending on where I'm at. And it creates a really, really nice edging. I think I'm really, really happy that she did that and wrote about it, because I totally would not have thought of that on my own. And here's the other side. This is the side with the buttonholes. There are 4 buttonholes, so there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. This second buttonhole here, I totally forgot to do. So before I got to the 3rd buttonhole, I dropped down and retroactively did a knit 2 together, yarn over knit 2 together, which is how these buttonholes are created. And it's a little sloppier than the other buttonholes, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So I love this so far. I love the texture of it. I love the yarn. I love the colorway. It is like my favorite mixture of pastel and neon. And I think it's gonna be a really nice springy cardigan for the upcoming spring, which I'm really excited about. So this is going by pretty fast too. I feel like it's going to be done in a flash, and I'm really excited about that too, because I'm still thinking about all the other sweaters I want to make, because as soon as I cast this one on, I was like, but I want to make that sweater, and I want to make that sweater. So yeah, I constantly have my mind on my next sweater that I want to knit. I will show you my swatch, because I did do one, because I do always do a swatch for garments, even though I never ever do a swatch for anything else. generally speaking. I did some in stockinette and some in garter. Even though it's a garter pattern, like most of the thing is garter, she calls for the gauge to be measured in stockinette. So I did that, which I thought was kind of weird, but I don't know, whatever. But I also did some in garter too because I wanted to see how the fabric was going to turn out. And something else I've decided to alter too on the pattern, and I did get this idea, I think from the same person that did the I-cord edging, is this, the whole thing is garter, including the sleeves, but this person did stockinette sleeves after the separation for the armholes. So like up in the yoke, or whatever it's called, it's the garter stuff. But then after the sleeves are just done on their own, she switches to stockinette for the sleeves. And I think I'm gonna do that too. I just thought it looked really nice. So I really like it. I didn't quite get gauge. I seem to never really quite get gauge lately, but my gauge was a teeny bit smaller than the one called for in the pattern. And I have decided that that is okay. So that's what we went with. And I have got my traditional rewritten pattern on some cute little pusheen paper. You see? It's pusheen. It's my note paper. And it's one of those patterns where it says to do these 2 things 7 times, and then these 3 things 6 times, and then those first 2 things 8 times. And it's just way easier for me to write it all out line by line so that I know what I'm doing for every row. So that's what I did. And here's my tag for my yarn. Natural Merino and Starships. So that is all the stuff I've been working on. I feel like I've been doing a lot these past couple weeks, which has been so fun. I love how much I've been working on. I don't think I normally have this many projects going at the same time, and plus like recent finished objects. So that is pretty exciting. I love all my projects right now. Do you love all of your projects right now? What are you working on? Are you working on things to get ready for spring, or are you still in winter mode? I've noticed this about myself. I don't really knit seasonally. I tend to knit all the things for all the seasons all year round. And I think that's partly because where I live is so temperate. We do have seasons, you know, we have a rainy season, we have a sunny season, we have a cold season, but I wear super warm things all year round. I am that person walking around in the summertime at like 7 in the morning in like a super warm woolly sweater and coat because I'm still cold. So I knit all the things all year round. I just do. So on to shop update. We did not have a shop update last week because I went to Stitches and it was so fun. But I do have a shop update tomorrow, which is Saturday, March 17th at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. And you can get to that shop update if you go to moonstonedyeworks.com. The shop itself is on Etsy, so that's where you'll find this update. And I hope to see you there if you're interested in anything that I'm about to show you, because I'm about to show you everything that's going to be in it right now. Okay, so I got everything ready to show you for the shop update that's going to be happening tomorrow. Again, this is Moonstone Dye Works, and I hope you can make it. The first colorway that I will have is some Starships, and this is the colorway that I'm knitting my sweater out of. And right here, I'm showing it on the Stellina sock base. And I really, like I said earlier, I really like this colorway. It's a nice mix of pastels and neons, in my opinion. So Starships will be available. Also available will be Lady Soul. And this is it on the Natural Merino base. And this is a really nice tonal purple, pink kind of color. I really like that one. And Crescent Moon will be available. We are getting near to a new moon right now in the sky, and so we recently had some crescents that were really beautiful where I live. I love them. So I've got Crescent Moon. It is shown here on BFL Sock. So that will be available. Also, Moon Age Daydream, shown here on Merino Single, which is my fingering weight single ply base. I love Moon Age Daydream so much. And lastly, we will have Stardust. And Stardust is shown here on BFL Sock. And I love Stardust. It's a really subtle tonal. It's kind of a really gray toned pink, almost like a mauve with a lot of neutrals, gray and brown tone neutrals. So that will be available as well. If you are interested in checking any of those things out, be there at 10 o'clock Saturday, March 17th Pacific time, and they will all be available for you. So that's it for the shop update. I did not prepare anything for favorites, I just realized. But Edinburgh Yarn Festival's going on right now, you guys. I do wish I was there. It has never been really in the cards for me to go to something like that. I'm on the west coast of the United States, and Edinburgh is really far away from me. So it's I don't know, I would love to go someday, but not right now. That's a really far away trip, but I want to. I really do want to go someday. I want to go there anyway someday, to Scotland. I want to go to all of the British Islands because they sound awesome. So anyway, if you are in Edinburgh right now, or were there whenever you're watching this, I hope you are having / had a really, really great time. I've been seeing everybody's posts on it on Instagram, and it looks freaking amazing. It looks like so much fun. There's so many amazing people there. It looks like there's so much amazing yarn there. The town itself looks so amazing. I want to go there so bad. Knit Style, Sharon and her husband Rich are doing short vlogs right now of their trip in Edinburgh, and oh, it's been so fun to watch because they're kind of like filming around town, and it for one, it looks so great, the city itself, but for two, it's reminding me how much fun it is to be on vacation. And I love being on vacation. I could be almost anywhere if I'm on vacation and like staying in a hotel or an Airbnb or something. I'm happy. I kind of don't even care where I am. I'm happy. So that's been really fun to follow everybody's time in Edinburgh. And people, I feel like, have knitted some really awesome things for that festival. I feel like a lot of people were knitting sweaters for it, and oh, some of them were just so amazing. So if you're there, that's awesome, and I hope you're having a really great time. If you're not there like me, you know, I feel you. I definitely feel you. It would be great to be there, wouldn't it? But we all, you know, kind of have our local-ish yarn festivals, even if they're not that close to us. I was lucky enough to go to Stitches a couple weekends ago. That was a little far, but I made it, and it was awesome. And they happen pretty frequently and all over the country and all over the world. So they're just fun, yarn festivals, because it's a place for people to go and be with other people who think that this stuff is as important as we do, which is kind of weird. In like, at least my daily life, I'm pretty much the only person I know who thinks this stuff is like really important, and like I do it all the time, and in real life, you know what I mean? And then to actually go to a place where there are hundreds of other people in the same real life vicinity as you who think the same thing, that's pretty amazing. That's an epic feeling. So yeah, anyway, I hope you guys are having a great weekend no matter what you're doing. And I hope you're knitting all the fun things. I would like to hear about what you're knitting, so tell me about it down below or in the Ravelry group. Check out the Ravelry group because we have that awesome giveaway for the Something Wicked mitts, and we've got our knit along running right now, so join that if you feel so inclined. And happy knitting. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Have fun and stay awesome. Bye.